All right, welcome to the three deals of the week for the week of April 15th. And we've got some really good ones, a couple of nice price drops here in St. Pete as the market is sort of leveling off a little bit here. So let's just jump right into it. The first house that we've got is in the Central Oak Park neighborhood, which is dead center of St. Pete, one of my favorite newer up and coming neighborhoods. It's an old neighborhood, but it's seen a lot of revitalization over the past few years. So let's zoom out and so you can see exactly where we are. I mean, just dead center of St. Petersburg. Downtown over here, the beaches over here, and then you're really close to the interstate, which makes it an easy ride over to Tampa. So the location is great. And of course, we know that this little box here in the middle, if you've seen some of the other videos, is the highest point in St. Pete, so you're not going to have to worry about getting flood insurance. None of these houses flooded during the last couple of storms, so you're good there. So what we're looking at here is a two-bedroom, two-bath house with 1,077 square feet at $434,500. Now, this house is priced at $403 a square foot, which I would say is really at the upper end of what you're going to see in this neighborhood. So to justify that kind of price, we want to see some, really nice features, and we want to see some, fairly recent renovations. So let's just jump right into the pictures here. It's got a nice mid-century modern feel with that front door, the three-glass front door there. Nice big open living area. And you can see here, this is probably at some point was more closed off here. That must be load bearing. Otherwise, I would assume they would have taken that out. But still nice, nice granite. I mean, that's not a cheap fridge right there. I know that. So a nice renovation, eat-in counter here in the kitchen, and the barn door if you're into that sort of look. And if you notice up here, some nice crown molding. These are new cabinets. So this is a recent renovation, obviously. Really high end. Really high-end appliances in here, and a lot of counter space for a house with just 1,000 square feet. So main bedroom here, it looks like a queen-size bed, so you've got enough room in there. I mean, brand new everything in the bathroom with a closet in the back here. Nice big walk-in closet. The second bedroom, with a little bit less closet space, obviously. That's what you get, which is what you see in a lot of the older houses, of course. And then that's an above ground pool that they built a deck around and sort of buried the above ground pool. So that's not terrible. And a huge backyard. One of the things you could do here if you were going to stay is sort of build a primary suite off the back. You got plenty of room for that. And add another bedroom with a deck back here or something, and really, really have a nice place. So let's see what else we've got. Nice big yard. And of course, you've got the one-car garage. So what do I like about this house is, first of all, we've got some new stuff here. We've got a water heater and a AC replaced in 2021. The bathroom was remodeled in 2022, and then the roof was 2016. That's great, but what I really like about this is right here, solar panels that will be paid off, and they're only 2 years old. What you see with a lot of houses, because solar is relatively new, is that people, they bought the solar panels, they financed them, and there's still going to be a balance on them if they, sell the house within a couple of years. But the seller here is saying that they'll pay off the solar panels at closing. And then you look here, $36 electric bill, which is insane. I mean, imagine in the middle of the summer getting a bill for $36 when, a house this size, it would be, probably in the mid twos to around 300, depending on how often you ran your AC or what you kept the thermostat at. So this is a really nice house. It's got some nice features. We'll look at the neighborhood, and Central Oak Park is just off of downtown. So let me get back to the neighborhood stuff. We've got the low crime. We know that that's a minimal flood factor. Anytime you're in that little box here in the middle of St. Pete, uh, you're likely to see an X flood zone, which is no flood insurance required. Um, this house has been on the market um, just a little over a month. So here's how you can kind of read this. It went on the market on March 2nd and went pending on March 4th. The most likely event was that it was under contract near that price or somewhere around that price, probably this price, in fact. You would guess that that's probably what was offered, give or take. We don't have any information on why it went back on the market. Could have been a financing issue, could have been an inspection issue. Obviously, we do our due diligence and ask that question before we make an offer, because we don't want to necessarily make an offer on a house that's got some structural issues. But otherwise, this is a pretty nice house. Again, upper end of the price range at $403 a square foot. But if you're a first-time home buyer and you're looking for that second bathroom, which is a little bit harder to find in that central St. Pete area, when you only have 1,000 square feet, this might be a nice house for you. A little on the smaller side. I would say I would like it better if it would dip into the 380 per square foot. So maybe at 409 or 405, somewhere in that. We'll see. But it did go under contract pretty quickly, probably around this 430, 405 price. So if it's something that you might want to see, shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. I am a realtor here in St. Petersburg, and I could set up a showing and go see it. And that's house number 1 in the 4s. And we've got another house in the 4s, so let's take a look at that one. And this is house number 2, and it's priced just under $500,000. It's in the 4s, $495, and it is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot house in the Oakwood Gardens neighborhood. And this is one of the things I like about it right here, $328 a square foot. If I find or see a house that's $350 a square foot, that's super move-in ready, doesn't have to be perfect, and is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with some square footage, I mean, to me, that's something to consider. So let's take a look at the pictures here. But first of all, I have to mention this because this house is unusual for the neighborhood. Was built in 2016. This is a 2016 house. Now there is some new construction in the Oakwood Gardens neighborhood, but it is an older, mature neighborhood. A lot of the houses there were built in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So it's nice to see new construction, especially at this price per square foot. You're not really going to see that much anymore. So let's bounce through some of the pictures. It's got the kind of bungalow feel from the outside, a 1-car garage, nice big open living area, and an enclosed Florida room. Those definitely look like impact windows there. And newer, but not brand. Obviously, it's 2016, so the house is 9 years old now. So the appliances are probably 9 years old as well. Double vanities in the bathroom. Nice wood floors. I mean, super, super clean house. I mean, looks totally move-in ready. So again, AC unit was replaced in 2021. Everything else we're going to assume was 2016. The house has been on the market 77 days. So that tells me they missed the mark a little bit on the initial pricing. So let's just bounce down to the pricing history. And they've gone through 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 price drops in just a couple of months. And that tells me a couple things. Obviously, they shot a little bit high. But when you see this many price drops in this short a period of time, to me, it's a good sign because it's a seller and a listing agent that are being very sensitive to the market. They're probably getting showings. They're probably getting people that say, I love the house, but they're not making offers. And so the agent and the seller are trying to find the right price without overreacting. Sometimes you'll see a house on the market, for 6 weeks or whatever, they'll drop the price 50 grand or 60 grand. Whereas in this case, they're just methodically saying, okay, it didn't work at 549 and let's try 544. It didn't work there. Let's drop it a little bit. And I would guess that at $328 a square foot, they're starting to enter enter a point where they're going to start getting some offers, because this house, newer, it's got paid off solar, which let me get back to. It has paid off solar, which is fantastic. So your electric bill will probably be about $50 a month. It's in a neighborhood with some of the newer construction is, $1 million. We've got 77 days on the market, so I would bet a seller willing to make a deal. Um, you know, the Oakwood Gardens neighborhood is, right next to Distant Heights, which is right here. So it's in the center of St. Pete. Good access to the interstate, which gets you over to Tampa. Downtown is about maybe 12, 15 minutes. And then the beaches are about 30 minutes away. So the location is excellent. Got low crime score here. And of course, the flood factor, 1 out of 10 means that it's a flood zone X. You're not going to need to get flood insurance here. So, you're still talking about almost $500,000. But if you're a first-time home buyer and you're worried, like a lot of people, that all you can afford is 11 or 1,200 square feet and maybe a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, or a 2-2, you get a full 3-2 here with a 1-car garage, 1,500 square feet. Not small for that neighborhood at $328 a square foot. It might be worth a look if you can swing that price tag. So that's house number 3, or excuse me, that's house number 2. Now let's take a look at house number 3. Okay, here's house number 3, and this one is in one of my favorite neighborhoods in all of St. Pete, and that is Distant Heights. And let me just show you where it is. I know you probably get tired of me showing the very dead center of St. Pete, but I am telling you, if you do want to buy a house out on the beach or along the coast in St. Pete and deal with the flood situation in an unelevated house, it's entirely up to you. If you got a much higher budget, $1 million plus, you're going to be able to get probably an elevated house at that price point, and then you're going to be a little bit safer from rising waters. But if that's not your thing, you probably want to stay in this little center box here in St. Pete. And Distant Heights is, again, pretty much in the center of St. Pete. And one of the things that I liked about this house, and I think this is probably why it's going to maybe sit on the market, it's been on the market 33 days, is this first picture. I don't know why it just is not right. It just doesn't look great. The rest of the pictures we'll go through here in a second look great. But if you're looking on your phone, this is probably not going to stop your scroll. You might go right past it. And what that means is fewer buyers interested, better negotiating position. So let's just go through the pictures real quick. And again, I think the house is nicer than what this picture, this first picture is anyway, because look at this pool. I mean, they spent a ton of money on this pool. That's a travertine deck all the way around. And it's a nice, bright, open living room, decent size. Built-in bookcases. Looks like newer cabinets and newer but not brand new appliances. And a good size primary. Oh, there was one thing in here that I thought was a little bit, I don't want to say odd, but maybe less than ideal. If we go back to the floor plan, you'll see that both bathrooms are right next to each other. So, I mean, that typically means that this house was not built this way, probably not built this way. There's been an addition or reconfiguration at some point. But you see the primary bedroom's over here and has access to the primary bath. And then the second bath is right behind it, come down the hallway. But the fourth bedroom also has access to that primary bath, which is, I'm going to be honest, a little unusual. Not the end of the world. If that was going to be your primary bedroom, you could get rid of that door, and then this bedroom could, use that bathroom. That's probably the way that I would do it, so that you'd have some privacy, and that would seem, more standard, but not a big deal. So nice and bright, some nice built-in bookshelves here. I mean, that pool is absolutely gorgeous. The rooms are good size. Looks like some updated features or fixtures in the primary bedroom, and that is a second or third bedroom, and it looks pretty big to me. And they're using that as an office. And then you've got a 2-car garage around the side. So really nice, and here's why I like this house. First of all, is obviously it's a flood zone X. This is Distant Heights, a neighborhood that I know well. So the crime score is a 3 out of 10. So that's definitely on the low side. You've got a pool, you've got impact windows. That pool was built in 2022. 2024 was a new roof. The AC is 2020, new flooring in 2025. So this is not a complete and total renovation in the last year or two. It's been done over a couple of years, but it's still up to date. It's totally move-in ready. I think the layout is good. The bathroom situation, honestly a little bit weird, but they've had one price drop here since they went on to the market, and they've been on the market 33 days. So let me just check to see when that price drop happened. It was, so after a couple of weeks, they dropped it by about 15,000. So now we're getting into 3 weeks. You might anticipate another slight price drop within a couple of weeks. But again, at $370 a square foot, anything between $350 and $400 a square foot in the center part of St. Pete, that's move-in ready, a fairly recent renovation, not in a flood zone, is something worth looking at. So that's house number 3 at 4500 35th Avenue in the Distant Heights neighborhood in St. Petersburg, priced at $599. And if you need a 4-bedroom and a 2-bath at 1,620 square feet, which a lot of the houses in this neighborhood are more in the 1,300 square foot range, this might be one to see. So if you'd like to set up a showing, let me know. Shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. Love to set up a showing. Also make a comment. Let me know what you think about the price on this one. The curb appeal of that front picture, that first picture, to me is not great. I think that's costing them a little bit. I think a twilight shot might put that house in a little bit better light, might attract some more attention and more showings. But let me know. Also subscribe to the channel so you're notified of new videos for deals of the week. And as always, I'm Steve Reynolds, and I will see you next time.